The party finds himself in a familiar area. Not anything different, but not the same at the same time. You picture yourself kind of sitting back, relaxing. Maybe in front of you, you have a microphone or some sort of a headset. You could be in a chair. You might be on a couch. You might just be even relaxing. As you're recording for a session such as this one, you are accompanied by. It's three total. You're accompanied by two people who you're relatively familiar with. We have Declan, the guest host, the Kyle of the clan of special guests, and friend of the show, Noah, here today. You guys are going on a regular, normal, everyday sort of adventure that you've come accustomed to at this point. But out of nowhere, we started recording, and I need all of you to roll initiative.
Oh, heck. I need to get some dice.
Oh, I actually have a d20 right here.
I got a 16, and my dex is a +2.
Okay. So
I got a
18.
2.
2? Okay, Kyle. What about you, Noah?
I rolled the 18.
Could you, Declan, roll again? Because you have this... Or is that with your dex modifier?
That was with my modifier.
That's with my modifier as well.
Could you, Declan, roll again, please?
Yes.
That's a 9 + 2. 11.
16 with my modifier.
I'm going to have Noah go first, just because on the second roll he went higher.
Okay.
Welcome to today's episode. We're talking about D&D.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Whoever, if you guys want to do it in initiative order, go right ahead and talk about how you became introduced to the world, to the game.
All right, so I guess that's me first.
Well, introduce yourself as well.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
I am Noah. I am your local bard of songs and joy. I kind of got into D&D a couple years back. I always kind of was into playing it. I actually started with 2nd edition, old school way. And then a couple years back, I started playing 5th. I enjoy both. They both have their ups and downs. Kind of depends on your play style.
Sir Kyle?
Your friendly neighborhood rogue. We tried to play a couple times with a friend of the show, Steven, which we got to make our characters, and then we never played. Then Critical Role came, and I fell in love with the show, and then I bought the starter set for 5th edition and took off from there.
So, I was welcomed into the D&D folds as a lowly ranger named Lexan. I started with Kyle and Vince and a couple other friends, and I started with 5e, and I just kind of came in not really knowing what to do, and then realizing it's going to be something that I love forever.
Is that all you'd like to say, sir?
That's all I'd like to start with. There's plenty more to say.
I got shown the game. I was brought into the world. What seems to be like it was always kind of there and always kind of a thing that I would make fun of. And something that I was like, yeah, I'll do it ironically. And then I did it. And then turns out that I loved it. One of the most important, I guess, overall gaming experiences for myself is when I was in, I want to say 8th grade or 9th grade, somewhere around there. I played D&D for the first time with Kyle at our friend Steven's house, which I think we said in a past episode, we like Steven's backyard. But Steven's house is where I learned how to play, and Steven's brother Dylan showed me the world, and I'll probably wind up telling the story later on, but Dylan is such a fucking fantastic DM that within moments of making my character and being in the world, I remember going, this is something that I can see myself becoming very, very invested in. And I rarely had experiences like that with any types of game. And the ones that I did, I had a very profound experience with, and D&D being one of them. Also, before we go any further in the show, I'm sick, so I'm sorry that I sound miserable. But Declan, sir, being, I think someone who has DM'd probably the most.
I have extensive experience with DMing.
Why don't you tell us a tale of Dungeons and Dragoons?
What kind of
just
tale?
Something. Why don't you just tell us about the Fallout one you made?
So, in the beginning, there was the Bethesda Fallouts. And then there was no D&D to go along with it. And because I'm a huge nerd, I decided, so it shall be, that Fallout D20 shall exist. Then I spent 3 years making it, and it's still not done, and it's hell, and I love it, and it's my garbage child of a game. The end. But that's not it. Over the past couple years, I have been testing it with Vince and Kyle and a couple other friends of the show, and it's kind of great. It's really... I can take all the things I love about the Bethesda Fallouts, and even the Interplay Fallouts, and deliver it in a way that's not the usual way you get Fallout. I can take liberty with this really interesting world and give it to my players in like little smaller, more intimate chunks. Mechanically speaking, it plays very similar to 5e, so anyone that plays that shouldn't have any issue with it. But other than that, it let me expand on the world that I already love. I kind of consider it like my own expanded universe for Fallout.
So, I think we should just give a backstory for people who don't know much about D&D entirely. Because I just realized this, we might be alienating people that have never played it but only ever heard of it. The game is as basic as it could be. You make a character based on a set of rules, and the rules are everywhere. You could find them for free online, and you craft yourself a character. There's many different ways to create a character. There's point buy. There's my favorite of the dice rolling, where you roll 4 6-sided dice. You drop the lowest one, and that becomes your stat for be it strength, dexterity, wisdom, intelligence, charisma, and I'm forgetting
Constitution.
Constitution, thank you. And you kind of build a character, and then you always make a character who, say, is a rogue, and he's a very stealthy, crafty man, and he steals a lot, and he can get himself in and out of trouble just by going, I'm not here anymore, and disappearing. You can play a bard, which is my favorite, who can walk into the pub and say to everybody, hey, my name is Frank, and because of my name being as such, you're going to give me money. And then you roll a d20, and it's high because you have a high charisma, and now you're swimming in the cash. Or you can play a barbarian or a paladin, probably a barbarian for this. You play or you could play a barbarian where you just kind of walk into a place and say, is that the bad guy? And yes, okay, good, he's going to die now.
I
and you
cast
do
Fist.
Yeah. There's various ways to play it. The way that I got introduced was 5e. Declan has retrofitted all of 5e into his own amalgamated Fallout version, like he said, and it has been quite a time learning. What I think what a lot of people don't understand about Dungeons and Dragons before they play it is that you'll learn shit about yourself because the creation of your character is so Freudian that you don't quite get it at first.
At first, you think it's all this like oh, I'm just gonna make up something like, haha, I'm a muscle wizard, and you don't really realize until you play that parts of yourself come out as you're playing this character that might be nothing like you. You might be someone who's scared of the dark and someone who hates pork, like just examples of character traits, I guess. But you get into this world and you conquer the dark and you slay the pig and you do these things that are not really reachable to you as a player, but as this character, you can do these mythical, magical things in kind of a vacuum. So I feel like it's a really great way to learn stuff about yourself, like especially with hypothetical situations, like if you have to choose between a town burning down and losing 2 of your best friends, what are you going to do?
Kyle, what are you going to do?
Keep in mind you
Yeah,
have
the
2
whole
of your
town.
best friends here.
Who's your best friend?
Town
Depends
of friends.
on the character.
Town of friends.
If it was Steinman, I would save my friends. If it was Mirax, I would save the town.
I see that.
No, this is a question. I have kind of a 2-parter. What was the defining moment of you guys playing D&D and being like this? Yep, yes, of course. And what has been your favorite character that you've ever created?
That's easy for me. I want to hear Noah's answer.
I want to do this in let's do it in initiative order.
All right. I think one of the most defining moments for me would be when I was playing the campaign in second edition. It was my very first character I built. He was a half elf. He was essentially the kit was kind of like a collector kit. It was considered. Essentially, it was an elf that went out, found magic items that they felt were too powerful for humans to control. They would gather them and kind of protect them and stuff. So my storyline was kind of like my mother and father had been lost. My father was a collector as well, so I was out trying to find him. So the campaign that we ran for almost like a year was very focused around my story and stuff. And we finally got to the point where like we finally found my dad. We found this mega awesome like magic item we were searching for, and it was kind of just like a very defining moment for that character. And plus, it was my very first character, so it was very like touching for me to have like found my dad and like kind of like got some answers to what had happened and everything. So that was definitely one of my defining moments as far as playing D&D. As far as like my favorite character, I mean, you probably, at least Vince and Declan probably know, my favorite character definitely has to be Max Stardust.
I love Max.
Max Stardust is pretty rad.
I love Max Stardust too. Like I've second edition is very like not bard friendly.
Really?
They're not. No, it's
wow.
Like,
that sucks.
It's very like they're a very like kind of ostracized class, to be honest.
Wow.
They're not nearly as powerful as they can be in fifth. So it's kind of like you're kind of the odd man out trying to play a bard in second edition. So to play a bard in fifth, and then I was kind of just like, you know what, I'm gonna go full throttle with this bard. I actually really based the whole Max Stardust idea off of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the musical Something Rotten, but it's essentially about William Shakespeare, and he's kind of just like this total D-bag. He's like, oh, I'm the best there ever was, yada yada. So I kind of based Max Stardust off of this like douchey version of William Shakespeare in this musical. I was like, yeah. Vince and Declan know like where Max has evolved to now. I love Max Stardust. I love Death. I really do.
Just as a little background clarification, we started playing with Kyle's group. I was the DM, and it was Kyle, Declan, and a couple other people. And then we switched it out where it was Kyle was the DM, but Declan has always been our Fallout DM. I did it once, but I did it so early in the timeline that it just didn't. I had to make up everything. So I was like, oh, the Brotherhood, because fucking not even 76 follows their own lore, because we did it like, I think we only did it where it was like 2112 when we did it. It was only a few years after 76. And I was like, oh, the Brotherhood doesn't exist yet, so I can't do that. Or it doesn't exist this far out. But so I only did it the one time, but I also met Noah through playing D&D at a hobby shop not far from us. He showed up. He's like, hey, man, I'm here to play. I was like, hey, man, cool. We'll play together. And ever since then, he's been at every campaign I've done. So Max was a character that he created that I instantly loved because Max was just, he was, like he said, he was just kind of like an ass. Like he walked in and it was like, and throughout our campaign, Max went on and fucking slaughtered, just genocided people. There's an entire race of, that I made up of, they're called H2 hominoids, of water people, that Max accidentally assaulted one man's wife, and now they're just not, they don't exist anymore. They're gone. They evaporated, if you will.
You know,
No, the H2 hominoids are still alive. I didn't kill them.
Yeah, we did.
No, their nemesis, remember? Because there was the Manta people. I killed all the Manta people.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm the DM. I should remember this.
Well, yeah, but you've had things happen that you don't remember everything, though.
I always equate D&D to being the space where theater kids and the gays can enact genocide in a acceptable, caring place.
That is super accurate. Like, honest to God.
I don't know. I'm not either of those.
Well, you have to pick one.
Yeah, which one are you?
So Kyle, I believe you're. No, who's next in the order?
It was special guest Kyle.
Yeah,
Okay,
Kyle's
Kyle.
next.
I can't think of like a first time moment, but a defining moment for me was when you DM'd, and it was when Mirax was in the clock tower, and I
was
rolled
just
a
telling somebody
natural
about
one
this. Yeah.
trying to get gears, and the clock tower broke and fell, and I was buried underneath it all. And then I was saved, but I was missing my right arm. So that was like, oh boy, what now? How do I? Because then you gave me the penalty of throwing daggers. 'Cause
Yeah.
yeah. So that was like very like amazing moment for me.
Didn't you get a replacement arm?
Yes, in my
one of the
canon
timelines.
story.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But,
Because I remember you having a separate arm.
Yeah.
But
Good.
I was gonna say no. If you kept throwing with the dagger, if you kept throwing with your left hand, after a while, I would have given you, I would have no longer given you a disadvantage just because you would have gotten better at it.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's hard for me to pick between Steinman or Mirax. I think I played Steinman longer.
Really?
Yeah, because Mirax was only played when you ran, which wasn't that long, and then I kind of retired him because I was DMing.
Yeah. I feel like Mirax was around a lot longer. I always liked him.
Yeah.
Mirax has a permanent staple in the canon.
I remember you guys you guys planned something for Mirax too, and then we never got to it.
Yeah.
I wish you guys could know all the things that have happened in the world, because for anyone who doesn't know, I took Vince and Kyle's world and went overboard and pimped it. So now it's got like fully fleshed out like story, lore, and history and different timelines and dimensions. So I did what a game designer does and just fucks it up. But so much stuff has happened in the world while they weren't at the table, and I just like wish I can transfer all those memories from my brain to theirs so that they can see what the creation has become, because it's fucking it's crazy, it's intense, it's everything. It's incredible.
Yeah,
Well,
the past, the present, and the future. Each one had to contribute.
it's like a Zelda timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, Vince, because Kyle, I'll be completely honest, Kyle came to me and he's like, hey man, I'm gonna buy all the D&D books. If I do that, will you DM? And I'm like, yeah, dude, sure. I never thought he was ever gonna buy them.
I never bought the books.
What do you mean?
I bought the starter kit,
Yeah,
and then I bought the
PHP.
yeah,
that's all you need.
and that's it. I never bought the others.
For the uninitiated,
Yeah.
the PHP is the player handbook.
You need you honestly only need a player handbook, and then the rest you can get online.
Yeah.
So you bought the book. All right, you bought the book. And I, for the longest time, was like, Kyle's never going to buy it. He's not going to do it. And then you were just like, hey, man, I got the book. When are we playing? I was like, I don't know, dude. When you good? You're like, the 15th? All right, cool. So we all went over and made characters. And then a week later, I remember it was Sunday because I was still watching The Walking Dead because it was still good. And it was when it started to not be good.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, I'm done with Walking Dead, and I'm just going to play D&D every weekend. And I was DMing your game.
Mm-hmm.
And that
I
was
asked you because I was like, you can do voices. I want you to DM.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, and I mean, here we are now, still talking about it. But Declan, do you have a defining moment and or favorite character?
Oh, absolutely. You guys were there for it. So, my favorite character's name was Ren Flintlock. He was a gnomish sorcerer, and he was intense. Eventually he ended up taking some levels in Artificer, but that's irrelevant to the story. The most defining moment was when we were captured and we were in this prison cell. And this like evil like warden dude came up and he had like this like gem and stuff. And he was like, haha, you're in prison. And I was like, yeah, fuck you. Or someone said that. And he turned into a dragon, and then I almost soloed it by getting off like 3 fireballs in like a turn and a half. Does Kyle remember this?
I remember this because I was Yorick.
I also
you were
remember
York at the time.
you one-shotting a giant lizard in a pond by electrocuting it.
Yes.
Freaking Ren Flintlock is busted. Like, I'm looking at his one character sheet right now, his post game sheet, which is what I use for when I use him in my world. And he's a level 20 sorcerer and a level 10 artificer. He's a legendary class. And oh fuck, I love this character. I love playing him. He's just kind of this like snarky inventor that does magic.
I remember when you
really
one-shotted that thing. When you one-shotted that lizard man thing.
Yeah. I made it clear that I was not to be fucked with.
Yeah. I remember Kyle, you had two pistols that you channeled your magic through. They were like revolvers, but instead of having
They were toys, yeah.
Oh, they were toys?
They were
were
wooden
toys.
toys with crystals inlaid in them.
Yeah, so he just
magic.
he points them at the
shit.
water and just goes lightning bolt, and then fucking quadruple damage because the thing's in water, and just instantly obliterated it. And it was just like, here's a ton of XP, and we're going. Kyle's like, yeah, I thought we were gonna that was gonna take at least an hour and a half. But not even to mention, that's something I love about before we move on with the topic. Something I love about the game is recently Declan and Noah and I were playing, and I had weeks of game. I had weeks of game planned where they had to travel and find a ferry to get to another island, and they had to talk to certain people. They probably had to go find Squiggins again. And then Declan's like, "Oh, the Flintlock Association is right here in the major city."
Is that same Flintlock?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I figured as much when you said about Flintlock. I was like, is that same Flintlock?
Yeah, he goes on to found the Flintlock Association.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So he goes and he's like, "Oh, there's teleportation pads here, right?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to tell him no." Declan made me.
I made the world.
Yeah, he's like, "Zoop," and then we're there. But I love when shit like that happens because Kyle was just like, "Oh, now what?" Do you have anything else you'd like to say, Declan?
No, those are my big ones. I guess the other memorable moment was something that you guys weren't here for. It was when I finally closed the book on the story after 3 years. Yeah. In December, at the end of last semester, I had finally told my story in the world.
Really?
Yeah. I'd love to run it with you guys sometimes. It's going to take around 3 years. But for my friends here up at school, I ran my version of the canon in our world, the Tales of Cottrell. And it was so good. I mean, I kind of go all out. I make art and I make music and I do the entire thing. I've got digital books of my lore on my Google Drive that I just write shit out. Spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets. I fucking love this world. I love D&D so goddamn much. It's one of the main reasons I wanted to be a game designer.
Cool.
Your turn.
All right. So, my defining moment was the first time I ever played D&D. Again, playing at Steven's house with his older brother Dylan. I had no real experience with RPGs outside of the Fallout games, and he was like, "Hey man, what kind of character do you want to build?" And I was like, "I don't want to be a human. I'll tell you that right now." And this was my second real character I ever made. My first character was a druid bullywog frog named Nebuchadnezzar, who was a frog who could turn into a bigger frog and summon smaller frogs. And that was I heard maybe that wasn't Nebuchadnezzar because there was two characters. There was Nebuchadnezzar, and then there was Nebuchadnezzar 2, Electric Boogaloo, who was an elf, and he was a rogue. And Dylan said to me, he's like, "What kind of character do you want to play?" And I said, "Well, when I play Fallout, I play mostly talky face characters." He's like, "All right, so you want to have your charisma really high?" I said, "Yeah, and I also want to be a thief," because I think Skyrim was out at the time. And I think, or if it wasn't, I had just started replaying Fallout 3 again, but tried doing a sneak and steal type of pickpockety type of John. And he starts us off and he goes, "You're inside of a cave." Or no, you're inside of a cave inside of a jail cell. And inside of the jail cell, it's very dark, but you can see there's a couple people in there with you. What are you going to do? And there's 12 or 15 people at the table trying to play. and
That's
my
a
turn
lot.
comes up.
It's
Yeah, no,
too
it's
much.
way too much. Yeah, and my turn comes up, and I'm just like, well, I am a thief. Would I have? I have like lockpick right here. It's fairly decent. Can I try some? He's like, yeah, go ahead. And I think he's the person who said to me, "You can do whatever you want. It's the dice that tell you whether or not you're allowed to do it." And that's always kind of been my way of playing D&D was you could be a barbarian, but like I want to cast fireball on him. Okay, do you know how to do fireball? No. Okay, why don't you roll an arcana check, and if you roll high enough, you can cast fireball. And like, oh, I got a 19. You don't cast it. I got a 20. Okay, you're going to cast fireball, but it's going to be a little less powerful than actual fireball. So Dylan says to me, go ahead and roll. And I roll it. My first fucking roll at the table is a natural 20.
Wow.
So
Wow.
what a better way to get introduced, right?
Starting
And-
off strong.
And I'll never forget what he says to me. He looks at me and talks to me as if I'm a child. This is the only time I've ever been like happy that someone spoke to me like a child. Spoke to me as if I was a child and he had like a book that had the secret to like Eden in it. And he was like, you being a skilled thief and knowing your way around things and knowing your way around locks and how to pick them. You sit there and you go to scratch your head and look at how you're gonna pick the lock, and as you do that, you remember that there is a small flap of skin that has developed behind your ear, much like where you'd put a pencil from putting a bobby pin. And I go, what do you like? This is fucking real? Like, you could just do that? Like out of nowhere, he pulls this shit out that I have this fucking piece of skin that is mutated to fit my character so much more, and I just keep bobby pins in like this little pouch, this little kangaroo pouch on the side of my ear. And I'm an elf, so I got big ass ears. So I have this little kangaroo pouch of skin that's just there that I can just and pull out a bobby pin, and I pick the lock and like let everybody out. And like I didn't have to kill anything. I didn't have to like make sure anybody was hurt. It was just I figured out how the world worked and that conventional ways of things happening doesn't always need to happen. And that's what like blew my mind about it. And that's why whenever Declan would play, he would say, okay, guys, you have to get from point A to point B. And I would say, fuck you. We're going to point C, and then we're going to go to point D, and then we're going to stop at point B, and then go back to point A just so I can spit in that guy's mouth and then go back to point B. Like, there's so much joy that I would get out of taking whatever the DM had given me and then saying, nope, fuck you.
At the same time, you do have to have respect for the game and not completely, like, go off the rails to the point where the DM can't tell the story.
Oh, yeah, of course. I was never just like, hey, guys, let's fly to New York. Let's fly to New York for my own selfish needs.
Moving on.
What was you said your favorite character was the bully frog?
No. He was my first character. My favorite character. Are you really asking me this, Kyle?
Yeah, come on. Even I know that answer.
My favorite character that I have ever created, with just because of the amount of detail and love and sweat and tears I put into this man,
And blood.
is Ron. And blood is Ron Thaddeus motherfucking Ghoulman. Fucking the way he came about was a joke. It was Declan was like, hey, I'm going to make this. What kind of character do you want to be? And I said, I either wanted to be a super mutant because I did a decent super mutant voice,
Could you give us a
or
sample?
I'm a little stuffy. Let me blow my nose and I'll try.
Cool.
Something troubling you, my friend?
Incredible.
Oh, fuck,
Yeah.
sorry. That was ass. I'm very stuffy. So I was like, I want to be a super mutant because I can, and I think that sounds like a lot of fun to do that voice the whole time. Or I'm going to be a ghoul because I feel like ghouls are mistreated and not understood. So it kind of came to me, this idea of a ghoul whose name was Ron Ghoulman, which is a shit-tastic pun. And he was going to be a lawyer, and I knew nothing about O.J. Simpson and the man who was murdered on the night where O.J. may or may not. I have to say that for allegedly. I have to say that for legal reasons. May have killed a man. I had no clue about Ron Goldman. I didn't know anything about him. All I knew was ghoul man, haha, lawyer. And his whole thing was Ron doesn't fight. He wants to do everything diplomatically in a court session. So you'd walk into this group of raiders and they'd say like, "Hey, we're going to take all your money." And then Ron would be like, "You can't do that. That's theft and that's illegal." And they'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And he'd go through this entire just rhetoric of laws that meant nothing to them, but it gave them enough time for the party to sneak around and attack them. He's a character that can't fight. He can't really do anything except for talk. And I love him.
Talk?
Oh, dude, he talks open doors.
Yeah.
That was one time.
It was one time, and it will happen again.
It was
And it'll
one time.
continue
You
to
hear about it
happen.
all the time.
Yeah, because it was so fucking... Declan, I rolled like a 28.
It will never happen again.
I
Not
rolled
on
a
my
28.
life. On my life and blood, you will never talk open a door again.
Why? Yes, I will. I'll do it tomorrow.
Fuck you.
You kidding me? No, I fucking love Ron. I love Ron and like I know all of Ron's story. I know how Ron's gonna die. I know how he was born. I know where he's from. I know the street that he was from. I know his address. I
What's
just
his social
fucking,
security number?
I can't tell you that, Kyle.
Mother, maiden name, number on the back of the card.
Fuck. Ron is the sole reason why I kept playing. And I've done the Kevin Smith thing where all of the characters kind of exist within the same universe. So in my fantasy D&D, Ron exists. And Max, Noah's character, Max like joined him and was like, "I'm an evil fuck, but we're going to rule the world together." And then a big battle happened. And then Noah got locked out.
I'm an evil
my
fuck.
But this is a part that I'd like to talk about something that I think is most egregious within the world of Dungeons & Dragons. When you make a character, it's very important to understand that the character you make is not a block of stats. It is not a representation of... It's more of a representation of a character and not so much how you see a perfect being. I've played with many kids. Noah can attest for this. I've played with many kids who only see Dungeons and Dragons as min-maxing. And they make their character where it's, I have a 20 in this, and I have a 20 in that, and I have a 20 in that. So if we ever get into a fight, and I don't like to play my games with a lot of encounters. I like to play... My games are soap operas with fighting that sometimes happens. I'm very much into the dialogue. I think dialogue is awesome. I think the dialogue in it is awesome because I like problem solving and I like audio problem solving. Here's a group of people. How do you get around it? This person says that this guy slept with his wife and that guy says no, and that guy says the wife was cool with it, but the guy over there says the husband was cool with it. He was
And the
filming it the whole
candlestick
time.
was in the library.
Like, yeah, exactly. What do you do? Like, and that's my favorite part about it is like, how do you figure out what's going to happen and where it goes from here? So like I would play with a kid who would just make a caster and he would just say, "Okay, I know this is the only encounter we might get for a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. So we're going to get into the encounter and I'm just going to burn all my spells right away. So not only do I get the kill, but nobody else gets to play really. Like nobody else gets the satisfaction of like, oh, here's 1 arrow, here's 2 arrows. I'm going to use an ability when he just goes 6th level spell, 6th level spell, 8th level spell, encounter's over."
It's the classic, like card game play style of this game is fun to play because you don't get to play. It's like a blue deck in Magic.
It's awful.
Oh.
I hate that shit. It's like my fucking Schwuppen deck in Keyforge.
Yeah, the game's fun because the other person doesn't get to play.
Yeah, and it's like I don't play that deck all the time, but it's fun to bust it out every once in a while and then beat Kyle on turn 4. But then I switch decks. I don't keep playing with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, go ahead and make your character that just swoops uncontrollably, but have him be a one-off character where it's going to be a combat-heavy type of campaign.
Yeah.
And just like it bothers me so much.
Like make your level 10 multi-class source lock that can just ram its magic fist up something's ass and make it explode.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
fun, but like no, we just built new characters for the campaign that you play in.
Yeah.
And you built a character that I love his flaws. Would you like to tell?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this new character I built was an Eldritch Knight. I honestly very much based them off of like, I don't know if you guys know this, the Magnus Chase series is from Rick Riordan that made Percy Jackson and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But so the Magnus Chase follows like Norse gods. So in that series, he meets Thor a couple times, and Thor is very much just kind of party doucher, like drunk all the time. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this human that's very much like kind of like Thor incarnate. So his name is Donald Blake. If you don't get that reference, read more Thor comics.
Kyle, do you get it?
No.
God damn it, Kyle! You're
don't
my
get it
comic
either.
source.
Thor's human identity in the comics is Donald Blake.
Oh, is it really?
Yes,
That's
as
cool.
Dr. Donald Blake. So I was like, Donald Blake.
Doctor.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a doctor. And
Holy
James.
shit!
Anyway, so I was like, he's gonna kind of be like Eldritch Knight. He has a warhammer. The whole thing really started with, I want to be able to summon my hammer to my hand, very Mjolnir like. So I was like, and then I was like, wait, Eldritch Knights have weapon bond that they can summon a weapon to their hand. So I was like, I'm going to do that. But he should be like a functioning alcoholic that, like, before he does anything, he needs to take a big old drink of something or he can't function. So we actually had this encounter where, like, I actually rolled, like, super high initiative to go, like, first or second. And I was
you
like,
went second.
yeah, I went second. Yeah, so I was like, first thing I did was, like, pull out a flask and, like, take, like, a big old chug. And then I went to go, like, reach for my weapon. I was like, oh God, I think I left it back in Dusty Cauldron. So like, the whole time, like, oh, what the hell? Even though the whole time I'm not even thinking, I could just summon it to my hand anyway. So I'm like, it's just, I don't know, it's funny, because
I love
it's just,
it.
like, slurred, like, drunken voice the entire time. It was like, oh, whatever. It's so,
See, but that's how I think you should build a character. You should build a character who, even if they're not like race human, even if they're elf or dwarf or tiefling, you should make them where they're human. You should make them where they have flaws.
Character
I just
flaws
made it-
are the best part of a character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's Rock is actually Rock. That's another Rock. My for clarification, is a half giant, half. I think he's hill giant, half human barbarian I had created, and his intelligence is like a 6, I think. So,
I
like,
let you take a -2 intelligence, so you could take.
Yeah. But his intelligence is like a 6. So like, he's so dumb that I a lot of times have to roll to see how many words he can like make. And and like, I get so into it that I'm like, oh, be Rock, be not know. Like, I have the voice and everything. And it's just like Vince was saying, like, it's fun to like make the voice and like really get into the character, because then you always have to think. I was like, all right, so Rock can only say like 6 words. So how is he going to convey this in 6 words?
Yeah,
That's really fun.
Been there.
Oh, go on, Kyle.
Dart.
Oh yes,
Dart was a Kenku warlock. So I literally had to mimic everybody.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
their words.
So Kenkus can only say words that they've already heard, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was we play with a kid at the shop that Noah and I play with. He played a tree and elf, so pretty much like a literal wood elf, like an elf made out of bark and leaves. And
Like
shit.
a dryad.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah,
Yep.
he played that, and they're like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Well, anytime anybody ever referred to me, they said, 'Hey, you.' So I guess my name is you." Fucking yeah.
Oh, I remember this character. Oh, this character is
Yeah.
fucking rad.
Yeah, it's just I love when people play like I just made a character who's afraid of barnyard animals. He just feels really uncomfortable around barnyard animals. So it's like, oh, you got to go to the stables and grab a horse, and I'm just there the whole time, like, all right, as long as a sheep doesn't get near me, I'm good.
It's like, oh, gross.
Or like make a dude who's afraid of water, or make a dude who's I don't know, afraid of the dark, or make a dude who like has to eat an orange or an avocado a day. Like make something fun.
In the shower?
Maybe. Just have fun with your character. Your character having a flaw, like say they're afraid of spiders, is going to make the game so much more fun. Like, okay, yeah, when you fight spiders, you might only do you might attack at a disadvantage, but hey, if you attack at a disadvantage, someone else might like boost you up and get you back to normal, or even better, maybe you're fighting that, but down the line somebody's afraid of something or gets hurt in some way and you can help them, so it kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, I made a character I played in a game when I was in Croatia, and the characters, basically, her thing was she was a healer, but at any point in time, if someone was like about to get hit, she would jump in front of them and like, get down, Mr. President, with a shield. So that led to a lot of interesting situations where like there were archers that were going to like attack our ship. There was a point where we had a boat, and I was like, oh fuck, and I would like just jump in front of these people trying to like tank the shots with my cool shield.
That's awesome.
Oh my god!
Oh,
could
and I
you
love
imagine?
making characters that the parents aren't dead. And
Where they
let me
have
tell you why.
parents alive.
Yeah, let me tell you why I love making characters where the parent or spouse is not dead. Because that gives the DM some fuel to do some personal story development later. Like, I played this one straight character. It was like the only
Wait.
time ever.
Hold on, can I just stop for a second?
Yeah.
So you're gonna tell me you want me to play a character that like, oh, we're going back to my hometown. Oh, here's my dad. He's gonna be disappointed at me that I do magic. Like, I'm trying to get away from the real world. I don't want to play a game where my parents are still disappointed at me.
Declan, didn't Ren's parents die and then I brought him back and you just killed your own father?
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Did I not fucking come for this game? What happened?
Remember, I brought Ren's father into the Horseman plot at the factory, and then you guys just shoved them into the bag of holding.
When
Don't
the
worry
fuck
about
did
him.
this happen?
That happened.
Like, towards the end.
Was
But-
I on PCP? Because I don't remember
That might have been PS4 day for you.
Oh, it probably was PS4 day. Should we tell the PS4 story?
Wait,
yeah.
I've not done my story.
Okay, sorry.
After Declan.
So, I played in one of Vince's games at the shop, and I played this old gunslinger named Clint Abernathy. And he was like one of my only straight characters that I played recently. And like, he had a loving wife and like kids that were fine and like not dead or like scarred. And he was just like, Dolly, I think I need to go have an adventure. I'm gonna blow my brains out if I need to stay on this farm any longer. And she was like, okay, I support your decisions. And like, Clint went out and went on an adventure. And I would assume that he went back to Dolly eventually.
Yeah, sure. That's where he is now.
Yeah. But that gives you, as the DM, something to work with. Like, what if Clint steps on some noble's toes and then he's like, I'm going to kidnap your wife and children and tie them to the train tracks?
See, that I understand. That I could kind of get behind, but I don't like leaving. I don't like... Because, like, for me at least, when I make a character and I know their backstory, like when I built the first Nebuchadnezzar the Frog, like, he had a very strict background of my parents very well much could be alive. I don't know. I haven't seen them. I was casted out because I wanted to be a druid. And then he went into prostitution for a while.
Delicious.
So, like, I think it's kind of... It isn't, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. It's kind of stepping on the player character's toes to say, like, oh, your character's parents are dead. Because, like, what if, like, just hear me out, and I'm saying this because I play with people who I don't know them very much. Like, Noah and I are friends, but I don't know a lot of the people I play with outside of... I see them for maybe 3 or 4 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe D&D is their escape, right? Maybe they work a shitty job, and maybe... like one of their parents actually did just pass away, and maybe D&D is kind of their way to not think about it. And for me to be like, oh, you go back home and guess what? Fucking your dad's dead. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I know what you mean.
Like
I know what you mean.
I'm not saying that like to say like, oh, you walk back into town and your mom's like, oh, your dad passed away. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's just I don't want to put someone through that because it could bring up some real honest trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some of the best therapy that I've ever experienced in D&D.
You were also probably very close to those people.
Yes.
These are people I'm saying when I play most of the time when I play, it's because I'm playing at a shop where people come and say, "Hey, I want to check this out."
You play with rolling admissions.
Yeah, I don't like if I played with you, Noah, and Kyle. Like, say it was the four of us that always played together. Like, and you said some shit that was like, "Oh, this happened," and it kind of related to something that had happened in the real world. I'd be like, okay, like I can roll with this because I know you know me and we know each other and we understand each other.
We know the boundaries.
Well, not even that. Well, kind of that. It's kind of, I don't know. It's just like a weird thing. I think of it a lot of like, it's at the end of the day, it's a game and people use a game to escape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people.
Yeah. Well, you kind of know our like buttons. You know what I mean? Like what can be said and what can't be said. That's gonna like trigger us, so to speak.
Yeah.
Using trigger lightly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not, and I'm not saying that the way you play is wrong. I don't want you to think that. It's just, I think of it as I think of D&D as just a way to exist in a world that never could be.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that, definitely.
So, for someone who could be like, oh, this actually happened to me about a week ago, I don't want to think about it, but here I am. And especially if you play at a place where you have to pay to play, like, thanks, now I'm paying money to cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's a different situation entirely.
But I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, and I also don't want to step on, like, maybe you had ideas for your character. Like, maybe you wanted to go back to your town and be like, look, parents, I did it. Are you proud of me?
Yeah.
It's
you know what I mean?
Part
It's
of
like
personal development of the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying you're wrong.
That also brings up the idea of separating the character from the player, which we had a thing with in the Fallout game.
Tell the story.
Bad dream.
Tell the fucking story, because I'll never not be upset about it, because I was totally in the right.
Do I have to?
I don't know the story probably better than I do. To be honest, you were the DM and you had to keep better track of it. When I was playing, I said I care about Ron.
I want Kyle to tell it.
I think it was because of Steinman.
What do you mean? I don't think it was because of you at all.
Bridge. I think I triggered it. Because I fell off the bridge, and then everybody had to go in and die for me, and then you brought like a gang onto the beach to kill Mick's character, and that whole thing went down.
Kyle, yeah, you kind of did trigger the retcon.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So, okay, hold on. Let's give a synopsis of what we're talking about.
Kyle, would you mind?
I don't remember as much, but you guys gonna help me with locations. But I remember we
were in New York, right?
New York, yeah.
So, okay.
We were on the bridge.
Yes. We were playing Fallout D&D, and we started in DC, and we had a character who joined who was from New York, and my character had a lot of money, and I purchased a vertibird from the Brotherhood, and we flew out there, and playing to my character, he did not want to be in New York. As soon as we got to New York, the vertibird blew up, and I was like, well, that's 80,000 caps that are just gone. And trying
You'll never
to
see
play
those 80,000 caps.
I know. And trying to play to my character, I was very upset the whole time. Okay, I was trying to explain that, like, I don't want to be here. I don't think we should be here. And now, the only way I'm going to get back out of a place I don't want to be is now gone. And I kept saying I'm walking back to DC, and everyone was very upset with me, even though I was trying to play to my character. Kyle, please continue. Sorry, I wanted to give clarification.
Well, after that, we lost Krogar to dying or something like that, and then he broke out of his power armor and ran away. So that added another layer of like crap going on, and then
Krogar being our super mutant that had power armor.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. He was mostly a potato anyway.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened after. I just remember we got to the bridge and you smooth talked your way onto it or something like that.
Yeah, there was a person who ran the bridge, and I was trying to get a deal with them where I could make a little money, and they could make a little money from the bridge thing that they were running.
So they were basically gatekeeping the burrows. Is the story of the Narrows.
Yes.
But
And
there
then,
came a point where Ron Gulman and Mick, our resident sniper, had a disagreement on what needed to happen to advance the story. And it came to them, the entire party really killing each other.
Yeah.
And I was very upset because the players were acting like whiny little piss babies and not respecting my game.
Okay, first off,
Yeah.
it was very easily avoidable, I think. I really didn't see a reason for us to be in New York.
That was is where the story was going.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying from the character of, like, saying, oh, well, here's this. Like, I have this whole thing back home, but I have to come back to this place that gives me nothing but anxiety. And and I don't want to be here, and I have to come here so one kid could kind of, like, I don't know. We didn't take a vote on it. It just kind of happened.
yeah.
I felt a little railroaded.
I can feel that, but we had some great moments in New York.
In where? New York? Where?
The
I became the king
nukes,
burger. That was it.
the nukes, that whole, like, how we had to, like, me and were trying to hack the terminals while you guys were trying to figure out how to stop them
Okay.
with the milk, mother's milk.
Yeah.
And then the Nuka World place.
Oh,
And,
the Coney Island Vault?
Yeah, and King
Yeah.
Burger and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
us playing
Okay, I'll
carnival
give
games.
it to you. Yeah. That was fun.
King's Plaza was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, definitely. But I just remember those moments.
I don't know. I wasn't big on New York. I think I was going through a phase of, like, I just didn't want to play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it led
and I
to a
just-
big retcon.
Yeah. We got rid of, like, 7 hours worth of gameplay. It was like when you're playing Fallout and you're just like, oh, I've been walking around outside for 4 hours and the
And then you
PlayStation
die.
shuts off.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. It was basically that. We got through it.
We killed him in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they killed themselves, really.
I forget how he died. Was it at Utopia?
Who,
Yeah,
Nicholas?
Rabbit shot him.
Mick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I wanted that. I wanted to fucking take that away from. I wanted to kill that character because, like, I don't know, like, and that's another thing that bothered me. We were going to New York just so we could find a Gek, so we can, or I had a Gek, and then so I found a Gek, and then we had, like, a replica Gek that my scientist, because Ron took over Tenpenny Tower, and I turned the entire bottom of Tenpenny Tower, where the ghouls were and everything, I turned that into a lab. So I brought over Dr. Lee and James, your dad, from Fallout 3, and I was like, okay, here's a lab. If I need something, make it, and I'll make sure you're safe and fed. And we made a fake Gek, and I was like, here you are. Take this. You can take this to New York. And before we even did that, the character of Mick, like, held me at gunpoint and was like, put it down. And I was like, you're really gonna fucking double cross me like this? He's like, I need it more than anybody else does. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if that's really apparent. You want to take this back to what could be 40 people that are living in an old subway terminal that are probably dead. You haven't been there in how long? Or I could take this back and serve the wasteland that I know and create a trade route and create jobs and create homes for people. So it was kind of like,
I mean,
don't know.
he was playing to what his character believed, just like you.
No, I get that, but I think the whole to leave DC kind of just railroaded us in a direction that I don't think ultimately made sense.
I wanted to try something new.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like,
I also joined in when we left DC.
did you really?
Is when you just described about taking the Gek to the Tenpenny Tower to clear the radiation, that's when I joined in.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were there earlier.
Nope.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow.
So I never really got to play in your DC world.
Really?
It was very true to form for Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm.
I miss playing as Ron.
I know you do.
Oh my god, he was so much fun to play as. All right, I'm going to tell one shitty story, and then we should tell a good one. There was a time I was saying I was kind of going through that phase of I just didn't want to play D&D anymore, and I think it was I just kind of was like I didn't feel like we were really getting anywhere, and I didn't really like the character I was playing in the fantasy one. I played a druid who was a Sasquatch, and he was cool, but like I don't know, I never really felt like he had any impact on the party. I never felt like anyone really like was like, oh, good thing Yorik's here. It was just kind of like I was just there. You know what I mean? Like I kind of felt like
You weren't the main character for a change.
no, not even that. I didn't care about that. I just didn't feel like I wasn't. I just didn't feel like I was necessary. Like I feel like everybody should at one point in time feel like they were necessary to the story, and I just didn't feel like because even when I played the Illithid that was a pirate, I was trying to play to my character and everyone got mad at me. So I didn't
That
really.
was very disruptive to the story and the other players, so that was why everyone was mad at you.
I guess, but I mean, I don't know. I just kind of
You were-
saw like
The captain was very like evil-ish, and I don't think the rest of the party was that way. So that's why I was kind of like,
I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know. It was just I was going through a time where I just didn't think I wanted to play very much anymore, and I've since then I've kind of like rediscovered my love for the game. And we were just playing one time, and I was very excited about E3 because I think it was the same year I bought a PS4, and I was like, I genuinely don't care. I'm gonna play and keep E3 on in the background. And Kyle has never let me live it down.
nope,
Yeah.
nope.
You were being a huge jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, no, I wasn't. I was. But,
Yep, never let you down for that. Because I was
Yeah,
like,
no.
am I doing this wrong? Am I playing wrong as a DM? You know?
do you ever really feel like you've ever done anything wrong as a DM? Like, honest question.
No, I feel like sometimes when it's like with your characters, I can't do justice for because you pick crazy classes and stuff like homebrew stuff that I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this. So I can't really help you out, which is why like Captain, like it was hard for me because it was an ill said that I know some stuff about it, but it was
Yeah.
like, I don't know how to incorporate them in combat or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was the only thing I couldn't help you out with stuff.
That's why I like DMing. Like, I like playing and everything, but I really like DMing because it's kind of just like, here's a thing, figure out how to do it. And Noah, I play with you the most out of anybody here.
Mm-hmm.
I will most likely be like, okay, this is going to happen this way. Like, I know the way my party acts. They're probably going to get out of it this way. Let me
Yeah.
see how they play to it. And then we play, and it's like, oh, okay. That's not at all what I thought was going to happen.
Well, yeah, that actually just happened the other week when the whole Max Stardust thing. You even
Yeah.
said you were like, I didn't think you were going to side with Ron. I was like, yeah, Ron always
Yeah.
seems to be having the upper hand. Might as well join in.
Yeah. And it was just like,
And even then after that, you thought I was going to like 11th hour, like, haha, I got you, Ron. But I was like, nah, screw it.
yeah, it's just you sit there and you're like, okay, I know this is probably how it's going to go. And then we're going to get to here, and then we're going to get to there. And then, nope, never. So,
Yeah.
As a DM, nothing ever goes as planned. Ever.
no, and I know that. And the number one thing about DMing you should know is that don't write story. Like, honestly, don't fucking have an idea of what's going to happen, but don't be set on it, because even like the Cottrell game that we were playing, the fantasy game we were playing, you, me, Kyle, Declan, everybody.
Yeah.
I knew how the first one started, and I knew how the last one would end, and I didn't know anything in between.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what you should do, is have a beginning and have an idea of where you want it to end, and just kind of
Figure
Go
out
with
the
it.
journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I DM'd, I had stuff playing like, oh, this is going on here if they go to it, or like this is certain happening at this moment if they want to walk towards, and oh, maybe they'll get a bit of information, or like I planned some stuff, but like not like, oh, they're definitely going here. This is dialogue I'm writing for 4. I planned stuff, like not like heavily story stuff. I planned like encounters, and like maybe if you go there and meet this certain character, or like he'll give you some story things and stuff like that.
I plan pretty heavily, but
I
my
don't know,
planning
I
is
just
all
don't.
adaptable.
You're also a Boy Scout. That's like woven into your DNA, is to be ready for everything.
Yeah.
Wait, are you actually a Boy Scout, Declan?
Yeah, an Eagle Scout.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Are you one, Noah?
No, I have friends that are, but I was never into that whole like camping outside thing.
Yeah. Why'd I gotta leave the house? My parents
Well,
are paying
that's-
a mortgage.
Well, that's honestly why I was kind of surprised that Declan is. Declan doesn't seem like the outdoors type, and that's nothing towards you, Declan. It doesn't seem like your type.
No,
Thing.
I was just talking earlier with a friend how much I love camping.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I never got camping. I just never got it. It was just like, well, my parents are at home paying a mortgage, and every minute we're not in the house, that mortgage is going to waste.
Yeah. Well, that's why I play D&D, so I can fantasize about camping outside.
If anybody would like to tell a story of anything in D&D that has happened to them and they enjoyed, please, now's the time to tell it.
So you had said earlier about how Max Stardust had kind of caused a genocide.
Yeah.
And I was actually just thinking, I was like, that's actually the second time that I had a character that I was playing under you as a DM that genocided a race.
Oh, yeah?
Well, yeah, because the very first campaign that I did with you, so just a little bit backstory, I was playing a rogue named Nax, and we were searching for these items, these magic items. These like Death Knight things had kind of started popping up in Cottrell. And we had wound up to the north, and I think it was were they orcs?
Oh, yeah, with the cars.
Yes, yeah. So I happened upon a deck of many things.
It was a modified deck of many things.
Yeah, like a modified deck of many things, and I forget what card exactly I drew. I think it was like a Ace of Spades or something.
Yeah.
And it ended up summoning, what was it, like a purple worm? A rock worm, yeah.
Yeah. And some of this
rock worm that just totally annihilated this entire tribe of orcs. Like the entire tribe. Like it was like we were trying to get an item that they had, and we were like, oh, they had captured like 2 or 3 of them at the party, and we're like, oh god, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, I'm just gonna pull a card out of the deck, and summoned a giant rock worm, and it just ate the entire tribe. Like it was like hundreds of orcs, all except for like
the leader.
The leader, yep.
Yeah.
So like I just make characters that genocide people, I guess. I don't.
It'd be like that sometimes.
And I remember I gave you a deck of cards. I was like, here, and you just pulled an Ace of Spades, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, no, it's wild. So like, I mean, now 4 characters that I've played with you, and 2 of them have caused mass genocide.
Rock killed a lot of people.
Rock did kill a lot of people. I mean, it was
self-defense.
Self-defense. It was kind of then especially in the underground arena.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, I was very on the fence about playing Rock again. I thought about it, but I was like, roll a new character.
Yeah.
I just always want to play Max.
I know. That's how I feel about Ron.
Max is my main.
Really?
Oh yeah, no. If I could main as Max, I would.
Wow, good shit. Max is a lot of fun. I also make you sing.
He's a really
which
fun
I always
bard.
think is fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and I enjoy it. Or like my little like impromptu like, oh, I got a polymorph, but I don't have an instrument.
Yeah,
I love doing voices. Voices is my favorite part about being a DM.
No, absolutely. That's why like Vince is so good at voices. So like, I like to just throw like, oh, what's their name? Oh, who is this? I'm like, go ahead, Vince, make another voice.
The voices are one thing, the names are another, because I never have names ready. You would think someone who's been DMing for so long, you think I'd have like a plethora of names that are just ready to go, and I just don't. I just get.
Well, it's funny because like sometimes I'll be like, what's their name? Knowing damn well you're like, oh great, now I gotta freaking think of a name. Or like the best part, going shopping.
I love shopping.
All right. If you ever play D&D with me, please don't go shopping. I'll just fucking give it to you. Like it's such a time waste.
Oh, it is absolutely.
And then don't split the party. Don't go shopping and don't split the party.
Split the party while shopping. Do it.
No. Oh my god.
We only went shopping when I made food.
Yeah. Yes, that's the perfect way to do it. If you guys take a break and you go out and like smoke a cigarette, or which that always takes 40 minutes, or you get caught up talking to somebody's dad, just do it then.
Listen,
I'm not saying that in a bad way. I love talking to your dad. I'm just saying, like,
Half the games are just smoke breaks.
yeah, because we played outside. Because you get 1
We
feet.
should just play outside. I don't know why we don't.
Because it's humid.
Yeah.
Get a table. We just sit out there with a bunch of chairs.
I don't know, dude. Humidity's a bitch.
Yeah.
Humidity is a bitch.
We need to find an air-conditioned house that lets you smoke in it.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah, but, fuck the planet.
Speaking of shopping, I remember I asked for a belt that would return my weapons to me, and you gave me a belt that was just made out of rope.
You tied the knife to? Hell yeah, dude. I rock GD rules all the time. You got to be so in depth with your shit.
Then I put it in a paper bag, lit on fire, and threw it at the guy's house.
Yeah, and it probably did more damage that way.
What's your favorite moment, Declan?
From what game?
Whatever one.
I talked about doing a shit ton of damage on that dragon. From the Fallout game, I really liked when you guys did what was that place called? Prosperity, I think. It was when 101 opened and Springvale kind of like expanded, and you guys kind of used that as like your settlement.
Yeah, and we had like Butch there.
Yeah,
and someone put Mr. Burke on a spike.
Yeah, that was Kroger.
Yeah.
It'd be
Wasn't there for that.
What?
I wasn't there for that.
No.
Oh, you know what? That was after Megaton blew up because they needed a place to go.
Yeah.
I really liked Nora, who was basically the lone wanderer.
But evil.
I played an evil version of the lone wanderer as a DMPC to be like an antagonist for the party.
She was fun.
Yeah. And then you maybe killed her.
Yeah.
No, you killed her. You saw her brains.
Declan told me something a long time ago that I know about.
Oh, what's that?
I'm never telling.
You really think we're ever going to play our private game ever again?
I don't know. I'll never tell, though.
Kyle's the ally I need.
That's DM confidential.
It is.
I'm finding out. I'm going to find out one day at one of your weddings. I'm going to make
on
sure
my deathbed.
Yeah.
I'm going to feed the two of you drinks nonstop till you tell me.
But you know what they do get?
What is that?
They do get that you can find the show on Twitter. Where can they find us?
On Twitter?
On Twitter.
You can find us on Twitter and our Instagram at Atomic Radio Hour. What about if they wanted to find you on Twitter, my friend?
If you want to find me, you can find me at Declan_Bean. But what about you, sir?
You can find me at the, all capitals, _Boogans. If you Sorry? Oh, yeah, fuck. Everybody plug yourself. Sorry.
Yeah, but what about
Read
Kyle?
the script.
You can find me at the Ood Sigma OOD.
You can find me at Smithman45 on Twitter.
Cool.
If you're listening to us on YouTube, thank you very much. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. You can also find us on most streaming platforms. You can get us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, CastBox. We're on the big ones, and I'd love if you were to join our Discord and have a conversation with us at some point. There will be a link in the description below.
That is very true. You know what else is very true?
What would that be?
That special guest Kyle sometimes streams on Twitch.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I do it with him.
Yeah. You guys are doing a Nuzlocke right now, right?
We were trying.
Yeah.
Cool.
We started and we died instantly. Just the trainer battle. Yeah, Declan won because you couldn't be there. We made the Pokemon Declan, and he died instantly. And then we did another one, and it was Declan 2. And then, like really early on, the third Pokemon we found was a Dragon type. It was like a Gabite. And he's like stupid powerful, and he went down because of Machop used like focus energy, and he was the last thing I had left.
Gross.
And then we had to restart, and then I was just like, you know what? That's 2 hours of no progress. Let's try it again. And then I got sick, and we haven't done it. So
maybe in the future.
But Yeah, in the future, we're going to try to do more Pokemon stuff because those logs are fucking fun.
It was fun.
We have some things to tell you.
Some very, very important things.
Some very special things.
If we've enticed you with tales of D&D and magic and mystery and intrigue and shit like that, we're going to start our own D&D campaign here on the show with the Discord, and Kyle is going to run a D&D campaign on Special Guest Sundays. And we're also going to do once a month, we're going to have our own Fallout D&D that Declan's been working on, that you have a chance to be entered into to win a spot in the campaign. There's a video that we will be showing at the end of this that for some people it might be the first time you see what Declan and Kyle and myself look like. It will fill you in more then.
Yes.
Yeah, check the link in the description on that video.
Yes, link in the description below.
If you're on the audio streaming services, you're going to hear that announcement.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun to watch, so you might want to check the YouTube one.
Go to YouTube and subscribe, please. And there will be some shit there. I post memes every once in a while, and every Nuclear Family episode gets uploaded to YouTube anyway, as its own piece of content. So if you hate listening to me talk about Fallout 3, but you like listening to fanfic about Fallout 3, that exists.
As always, thank you so much for joining us, streaming people, YouTube people. We really appreciate it. But something we also appreciate is money.
Yes, we appreciate the people that want to make the show bigger and better. So we do have a Patreon. There will be a link in our description below to the Patreon. There's a bunch of tiers. There's a bunch of reward tiers on there. The show will always be free. We'll never ask you for a dime, but it is an option if you'd like to. And because of some people giving money to us, we have to thank Michael Mello, the Friendly Companion Cube, and Noah.
Thanks, Noah.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
So yeah, enjoy the video. We had a lot of fun shooting it and recording it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
So goodbye.
See you later. Bye.
Guys, say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, Kyle.
Goodbye, Noah.
Bye, Vince.
Kyle,
Vince?
you want to hold my hand?
No.
Okay. See you, bye.
That's a wrap.
I don't know how many times we have to go over this. It's not gay.
It is.
It's not.
I would know. I'm the
It's
authority.
not gay. If I clone myself to have sex with myself, it is
gay.
masturbation.
It's man on man
mas-
action.
Oh, hi. We didn't see you there. It's me, Vince,
And me, Declan.
of Atomic Radio Hour.
The post-nuclear podcast.
And you're probably wondering why we're coming to you today through a video and not just solely through this here microphone in a podcast. Do you smell that? It must be. It has to be. It must be Special Guest Kyle!
Hey there, fine folks. It's me, special guest Kyle, and I want you guys to play D&D with me. It's going to be on Sundays, special guest Sundays, and we're going to go probably around 2 to 3 hours. Now, there's a link in the description below for our Discord and the Google Doc to participate in. Now, here's the kicker. It's going to be completely free. Don't have to worry about anything else. Just a free adventure with me, special guest Kyle, this Sunday.
Wow, Kyle. What a grand idea. Cheers to you, friend.
Way to earn the special and special guest Kyle.
But wait. What if I want to play D&D too?
You can. That's right. If you want to play D&D with me and special guest Kyle and one of our listeners, you get to play the Fallout game that I've been working on for the past couple of years developing.
With the fine folks at home?
With the fine folks at home. And all you gotta do is be part of our $10 tier on our Patreon.
This sounds like a fantastic idea.
That it does. As long as you're in our $10 tier, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a spot to play with these jokers.
Wait. So you're telling me all they have to do, the fine folks at home, all they have to do is pledge $10 to the official Atomic Radio Hour Patreon, and they'll be entered into a random raffle where they can play Fallout D&D with you and me and special guest Kyle?
Precisely.
The Fallout version of D&D that you've been What a tremendous idea. But Declan, friend,
Yeah.
pal,
Compadre.
what if the fine folks at home do not pledge $10?
I got you covered.
Do you?
Oh, I do. If you don't pledge any money to our Patreon, you'll still be able to listen to our episodes for 100% free because we will record them and upload them to Atomic Radio Hour.
The show?
Of course, the show that we run.
And this is all free?
100% free.
It's free real estate.
So what you're telling me, if I've got this 110% correct, is that special guest Kyle wants to run a completely free, completely casual fantasy D&D game that will be run through the Discord.
Correct.
And if you'd like to try to sign up, there'll be a link in the description below for Google. What is it again? I'm sorry. Can you fill me in? Can you tell me? A Google what?
A Google form.
So there's a Google form in the description that
To
people
sign
can
up.
fill out for the show. And if you'd like to play the Fallout D&D version that you've been working on for years, if you pledge $10 to the official Atomic Radio Hour Patreon, you'll be entered randomly into a drawing to see if you can play with you and me and special guest Kyle.
Wow, it's almost as if you summarized everything that I just said.
That was the point.
The link to the Patreon and the Discord are in the description below.
So you're telling me that in the description below is a link to the Patreon and the Discord?
Stop!
But wait, how do we end this video? I don't know, fade to black. Can you guys send me back? No. Okay. You go back when I say you go back, Kyle. I had enough of your shit. They're hurting me. That's a fantastic idea, Kyle. Cheers to you.
Way to earn the special and special guest Kyle. That was such a... Links in the description.
Close up, close up.
Well, you're gonna end up leaning in, so I'm gonna lose you.
Link in the description below.
Link in the description below. Send help.
Two more. Link in the description below.
Link in the description below!
Can we get one more? I want to. Come over here, quick. Kyle, get behind me. Go.
Link in the description below. Oh, my freestyle.
Hold on, do it like a regular one.
Link in the description below.
Link in the description below. Okay.
Link in the...
Sorry, do it again.
Link in the description below.
Link in the description below.
Link in the description below.
That was good.
Link in the description below.
Link in the description below.
Atomic Radio Hour.